Custis on first down to the middle. Hole 5, 10, 10, 5, touchdown!
Oh! What a run by Travis Custis!
And good afternoon, everybody. The Postgame Report with Coach David Dean for Systems and Methods Incorporated, SMI, one of the great benefactors of Wolves athletics. And today, all smiles as the Wolves beat North Alabama in the last game in this series for the foreseeable future, Coach Dean. And they made us play 60 minutes, and doggone, we played 60 minutes.
Well, that was a great football game. If you're a college football fan, you enjoyed that because that was two good football teams going at each other. Physical football game. We knew that North Alabama was going to come in and give us everything they had. This was a situation that they could get back in the Gulf South Conference and write their season. They've played some good teams right at the beginning, and we weren't wrong. They had the turnover early that hurt them a little bit, but other than that, boy, they played a really, really good football game.
Their defense today didn't make anything easy for us. Still, we ran for nearly 150 yards, and Willie Candler in the passing game and the protection, we threw for nearly 300 today.
We did. They made us earn every yard that we had. They brought a lot of pressure. They were doing a good job with some schemes that they were throwing at us. But I give our kids credit. They fought hard when we needed to put together some drives. We did that, especially after they scored in the second half. We answered with a score, and I think that was huge. That was a big drive to put points on the board. But it was a game that I was really proud of our players and the way they played. We're still making some mistakes from a selfishness standpoint, with some unsportsmanlike conducts that we got to correct. And but for the most part, we played with a lot of passion, a lot of intensity, which is what I like to see our teams do.
We got that turnover early that was big. The two big picks late, Cameron McGee's, and of course the one by Rico as well. We kind of got them out of what they wanted to do at that time.
Yeah, well, when we answered their score, I think that put them in a situation of if we're going to do this, we're going to have to score in a hurry, and we're going to have to get this back. And that interception that Cam had was big. It was a big turning point in that game. It gave us a tremendous amount of momentum. And, we go in, and although we don't score on that, I think we got a field goal off of it. But the other turnover, again, those are two big plays, big stands back-to-back that our defense made, creating those turnovers. And it kept them from having the ball a lot in the fourth quarter and kept their offense off the field.
It was a day of mega plays in a lot of ways. I think of Taylor Turner scoring that touchdown down there for us that was big for us. I think of also, we mentioned Cameron McGee's outstanding interception. And Travis Custis and becoming we don't have a track team for guys here, but if we need a hurdler, we know where to find one.
We found one. I think it was a series before. I told Travis, I said, look, I'm putting it on your back. I said, I want you to turn this game around. You're going to be the difference in this game. And, the next series, we get that ball after that turnover, and first play, he creases it. We had a great job up front with our guys. And he gets in the secondary, and their safety goes down low, and he hurdles him. And boy, just you could hear the entire stadium explode, as well as our sideline.
I'm not sure how low that safety got. That was the fun part of all that. We'll throw it open for questions right now here on the Coach David Dean postgame report for SMI, and we'll get questions from around the room. And where do we get to start? Right here.
Coach Dean, your defense got 4 takeaways this game. How does that help, the team as a whole? How did that adjust the game?
It was big, obviously, in the game, especially the first turnover, because we got it down in the red zone and we're able to punch it in and go up 14-0. But our defense has played hard for 4 games and only got, I think, 1 turnover. And today, they were able to capitalize and create those turnovers. And I was proud to see that because they've been working hard on trying to get those, and we just weren't able to get them. But they were key turnovers at key times. And, again, really proud of the way that our guys, it's all hustle plays. And anytime you got turnovers, and that's one thing that we were doing. We were flying to the football and creating those turnovers. So that was great to see, and really proud of our defense for that.
Coach Dean, you always emphasize, finishing the football game and playing a full 60 minutes, and your team certainly did that today. It looked really good in the fourth quarter. How proud are you of your guys for finishing this football game?
Very proud. Again, conditioning is big for us, and the way that we practice to play 4 quarters, and today we were able to do that. A couple of games we've had some extended leads, and we've gotten some young guys in there, but North Alabama's a good football team, and we kept those starters in there with a splattering of backup guys. But for the most part, I was proud. I think our defense probably played their best football in the fourth quarter, and that was obviously a big key in that football game.
Coach, you're able to capitalize, not just get turnovers, but get points immediately after that. How big that was to take some momentum away from North Alabama when they're trying to make their run.
Well, obviously it was. I think we got 17 points off turnovers, and I can't remember what the score was. Maybe was it 37-20 or something like that. You can see that's the difference in the game. So again, I hope our defense continues to do that. But we gotta live up on our end on the offensive side and produce points off those turnovers. Again, that's demoralizing when you turn the ball over and then give up a score right after that. That's tough to overcome.
Coach, looked like North Alabama was doing a little bit better moving the ball towards the end of the second quarter, but halftime looks like the defense came out there and like they were, back to life. So what halftime adjustments did you make coming out into the third quarter?
Well, the one thing that we challenged our defense to do was, when they were getting the football and running the football, when we were hitting them, they were falling forward for 2 yards. And now you're all of a sudden you're second down and 4 instead of second down and 6, or second down and 6 instead of second down and 8. So I challenged our guys to knock them backwards, not let them to continue to do that. And you could see that we were starting to do that. We were getting to the ball much quicker, and we were using better technique and knocking those guys backwards. But I think a big part of it was our rush. We did a great job of rushing the passer. A lot of their plays that they made were the quarterback stepping up in the pocket and running. But I will give their quarterback a tremendous amount of credit. He made some great throws today. He really, really did. And we were in good coverage, and he put them just in the right spot, and their receivers were making big plays. And we knew that. They are good offense. We knew that we were going to have to score on our side of the ball on offense. And there was a possibility of it being a shootout, and for a little while it was, until our defense bowed up in the fourth quarter.
Coach Dean, your defense got 6 sacks today. Last week they had a handful as well. Did last week's prep also influence this week's prep as you came into this game?
Well, sure. As a defensive lineman, that's what you live for, is that sack. And, we're rolling a lot of guys in there trying to keep them fresh. And Josh Aldridge is one of the best defensive line coaches in the country. And he teaches great technique. He gets those guys to play hard. And, that's one thing we talked about was relentless pressure. Keep the pressure on them. And our defensive line did that. And we did that with not a lot of blitzes. It was our front four with the guys that were putting the pressure on those guys.
Absolutely. The offensive line gave up quite a few penalties, especially with false starts in crucial situations. How are you going to address that moving forward?
Well, we keep addressing it every week, and we're just not improving on it. And the one time I can remember, we had a 2nd down and 2. We got 8 yards on 1st down, and then all of a sudden you look around and 2nd down and 12. We had 1st and goal at the 4-yard line, and all of a sudden we got 3rd down and 16 or something like that. We're just making critical mistakes at critical times that are hurting ourselves, and we've got to eliminate those. So, again, we'll watch the film, we'll address it, and hopefully we'll, at one point or another, we're finally going to get rid of those things and not keep shooting ourselves in the foot.
Coach Dean, what did you tell Willie, going into halftime after that, interception? Did you what did you do to, just round him back up? He
knew he made a mistake, and we were already in field goal range, and it was 2nd down, and we had another play that we could have used, and they did a great job of covering us up. We ran a 4 vertical route, and they did a great job of covering us up, and he just made a mistake of trying to force one in there, and if he just throws it away, we got 3rd down. We're probably going to run the ball and try and kick a field goal right there. But really the only thing I said was just make good decisions. Don't try to force things, just make good decisions. And I think over the course of the game, that was probably the only bad decision that he made. I thought he played another outstanding game, did a great job of getting out of pressure. And the one thing that he did do is when he was pressured a little bit, when our protection broke down, he was able to keep his eyes down the field and know when to run or know when to throw. And that's not always easy for a quarterback to do.
Coach, I noticed today on special teams, y'all did a really good job pinning them within their 10 or 20 yard line. Did y'all emphasize that going into the week on the kicking game, punting game, special teams?
We did. We emphasized to our kickers placement of the ball. They've got very dangerous returners, always have, and we knew that the battle of field position was going to be key and crucial. So we overemphasized probably to our kickers. They got tired of hearing it, placement, placement, placement. And when they did that, they put them in perfect positions where our alleys and where we were going, we could kind of eliminate, I guess, more of a third of the field and force them into running into our coverage.
Okay, do we have more for Coach Dean before the student athletes join us? Okay, Coach David Dean, we'll have you back in just a bit. We've got our student athletes joining us, David Dean Postgame Report. We'll start you on the defensive side of the ball. A thank you to SMI Systems and Methods, the folks who bring this to you each week. And we're joined always by a couple of our outstanding players. Talk about, this is a game we had about 5 plays of the game, and you had one of them, Cam McGee. Today, also, you were a tackling machine. First of all, I'm going to ask you about the interception. You don't see many inside linebackers where you were picking off a football.
It's just something that I got in the film room and seen that they like to throw a little out route real quick on early downs, and they tried it earlier in the second half, and I kind of got tripped up, and then they came back to it earlier, and I actually had my feet under me, and I was able to undercut it, catch it.
Did you go out of bounds? No, I shouldn't ask that. You were running all the way to Bremen, headed on that north end down there, but still, what a big play that was for us.
Yes, sir.
Today, also, you and your linebacker buddy Corey Rod, you guys were tackling machines today. You combined for 22 tackles in the football game against North Alabama. Tell us about that.
It's just reading our keys. We emphasize that at practice as well. Like when we're watching the film, seeing that all the things that they like to run and watching things that could take us to the ball as like guards and fullbacks and all that. And today, following our keys got us to the ball real quick.
One more before we throw it open for questions. Coach Dean mentioned answering. When they scored and tied it, we answered. How good that make the defense feel going back out there when you knew the offense went out there and, hey, they did their job. We got to stay over here for a moment. Now let's go as a team win this football game.
Oh, it's always a good thing. You know, football is a game about momentum. And when the offense go out there and scores quick like that, it just takes all the momentum out of the opposing offense. And when we go out there, it just makes it a lot easier for the defense to do what they got to do and shut them out. So.
Cam McGee, junior linebacker, McEachern High School in Powder Springs. Great ball game today. Do we have questions for Cam?
Yeah, Cam. Going into this week, especially with practice, how much did your coaching staff, especially with North Alabama running a lot of the read option, how much did they emphasize gap control?
They emphasize it a lot. UNA's offense is all about trying to add an extra gap with the puller or with the fullback, and so like if we weren't in our gaps, obviously, that's when big plays come. So coach told us that, do your job, stay in your gap, and plays will come to you.
How big was it to never let them, they were able to pull even tied with you, they cut it to 4, but they were never able to get that lead just from that mental edge. How big do you feel that was for you?
That was a good thing. One, because, like I said earlier, momentum is a big part about football, and just being able to stay out front the whole game is a good boost momentum for us. And when things go right and we start scoring and we start stopping, it's just a great thing to see on the field.
Cam, I have a question. I noticed North Alabama was very talkative to you guys. I noticed in the first half, there was some frustrations with the penalties and that kind of thing. Going into halftime, what was the mentality of the team? Was there just a sense of urgency there, or were y'all just kind of upset and kind of mad, and then y'all kind of use that in the second half to fuel y'all, or what was the mentality of the team going into halftime there?
Oh, well, this was one of the big GSC games that we're going to play this year, so, both teams are really riled up and, excited, and, things might come out that you don't want, but during halftime, our coach just told us that just go out there and do our job and celebrate with your team. he says no reason to talk to their team. Just if you want to talk to your team. So that's how I made that adjustment.
Do we have anything more for Cam before we let him go and get dressed and enjoy this win? Cam, thanks so much for being with us today. Great ball game this afternoon, young man. Thank you so much. Cam McGee, junior linebacker, he had a dandy for us today. Now we're joined by a senior running back who, as we get it, this is the second time this year we've had Travis join us after a ball game, after a win. Good day running the football today, Travis. You had 84 yards. You had a touchdown. You were busy in blitz pickup, as busy as I've ever seen a running back today. Before we ask you about you-know-what, tell us about that.
You talking about the blitzing?
Blitz pickup today.
In film, coaches tell us like they do a lot of 3-3 stack, and they switch it to like 4-3. So, coach tell us like pick up whatever is on the side. Or the end, or just do our job. So.
And running the ball today, it looked like we got stronger. Our offensive line, our running backs, you especially, as it went down the stretch today, it looked like we kind of were, I won't say wore them down a little bit, but we seem to be getting better.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
We got a lot better as last week. Coach was like all week, man, just do our job, man. I was proud of the linemen, what they did. You know, they fought hard all game, all 4 quarters. That's what coach said, and we just ready for about us.
Well, your touchdown came today on a 34-yard run early in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about that a little bit. Don't be bashful.
Nah. We needed that score. I told my line, like, push. Like if y'all just give me 3 seconds, and I burst. So they did. I seen the hole wide open. I seen one man coming. I was finna truck him, but I just started hurting him, like jumping over him. I don't know. It was a reaction, I guess. So it was a blessing.
It worked, no doubt about that, and you took it in the end zone there. We got questions for Travis Custer here as we're continuing on the postgame report today.
Travis, just what was going through your mind after you cleared the guy, just like, hey, I might actually score on this one, or just what was going through your mind through that, through that whole play?
That whole play, my mindset was just like, I gotta score. Like, it's just for the team, man, so we can win this. So, like I said, I told the lineman, man, y'all just push, y'all give me 3 seconds, and I just burst. So, when I seen the hole open, my momentum was just changing. So I wanted to score so bad. So I just leaped, I guess. I don't know.
Is it one of those things, if you planned it out ahead of time, you can't do it? You just got to go play.
You just got to go. You just got to react. Like, you can't just think. You just got to go. So.
Perfect. What else we got for Travis here this afternoon in the back there?
Hey, Travis. I noticed you and Devontae, especially, you guys are very physical runners to begin with, but I noticed today it was very physical out there, and North Alabama played very physical defense. Do you think this is the most physical game y'all played up to this point all year?
Yes, sir. Yeah. It was a pretty tough team. They did. They had mostly the defense did a lot of blitzing, most part. That we had to react on stuff like that, but. It was by far was the best defense that we had. So, yeah.
Okay. We have something else here for Travis before we let him go celebrate. I think that's on Travis Custis. Thank you. Great ball game today, sir.
All right.
We appreciate it so much. And he gets a glad hand from the head football coach, David Dean, here at the University of West Georgia. Today, David Dean postgame report. West Georgia beating North Alabama 37-23 here this afternoon. Coach Dean's 13th time coaching against these folks, and I got to thinking, playoffs. You've seen these guys sometimes twice a year, haven't you?
I have. This is my 30th year coaching, believe it or not. And 29 years I've been in the Gulf South Conference, and I've had many a battle with those guys. And like you said, many times twice in a year. The games are always fun. They're always well coached. They're always good athletes with a lot of speed. There's a lot of pride in that program. And today, I don't think it was any different. And, I know that they lost a lot of players in that game. There was a lot of guys that were walking off that field, and that's a testament to our guys, how physical they played. But, wish those guys the best. Hope that they're fine and that it's just minor bumps and bruises and they'll be back because they still got a chance to make a run. Like I said, they've got a very, very tough schedule to start with. And, if they can get on a roll, they can make some noise.
Got to ask you about the play. We were talking with Travis here earlier. We alluded to it. The hurdle. I can remember a play that you were a part of 2 years ago in the NCAA playoffs. A very gifted young man named Cedric O'Neal at a game you had against Carson Newman, I think. That reminded me a little bit of that.
It really did, and that's the first thing that I thought about when I saw him hurdle and land back down and he was still on his feet and running to the end zone. That is the first person that came to my mind. And, that's just Cedric O'Neal and Travis Custis. That's two guys that are great competitors. They're great athletes, great running backs, and they were trying to make plays for their football team. And, like I said, the series before I challenged him, I said, look, I'm going to put it on your back. And you could see how hard he was running. He was running determined. He was breaking tackles. He was hard to bring down. And that next series is when he made the leap. And it was funny when he leaped, and I said, did he really do that? Did he really do that? And, boy, you could, like I said, you could just hear our sideline. You could hear everybody in the stadium just erupted. And, to me, I think Travis was a big, big part of that game today and how hard he ran.
You mentioned challenging him. Championship caliber athletes respond to that, do they not?
They do. They do. And, a lot of it's got to do with those guys up front. And, Coach Kennedy coaches our offensive line and does an outstanding job with them. And they take a lot of pride in being able to run the ball. And it was frustrating because they were bringing blitzes up the middle a good bit, and we were having to bounce some things to the outside. And they had a great game plan, I thought. They were forcing their safeties to come make plays and use their speed and try and stretch everything out. And, we were able to crease them a few times, but a lot of times they strung things out. But I'll give our guys credit up front. They kept battling. They kept good. They just were relentless in their effort and played 4 quarters of football, and we were able to put that game away in the fourth quarter, both with our offensive line and with our run game, and also with how hard our defense played there at the end.
Coach David Dean, Postgame Report for SMI here. I want to ask you about one other thing we've kind of overlooked that I thought was huge today in the football game. When they had us backed up down there, we'd lost Christian in the ball game, and we were there on the 4 and got the penalty, and we had to kick out a short punt. And McGugan, I think, got you 41 yards and a fair catch in a time that it could have been as a disaster. It turned out not to be.
Well, no question. When you got your backup punter in that situation, you always hope that he's going to hit a good punt and just get it out of there quickly. And I think he saved his best punt of the day for that one. And I know he was frustrated with himself on the first punt. He didn't hit it as well as he could and didn't get very much distance on it. But like you say, true competitors come back and they respond, and that's exactly what he did. And he hung it up high, gave our guys an opportunity to go down the field. But that was a big, big punt because I think it put them on the 45-yard line, and we were on about the 2.5, I think, when we punted it.
If you're looking to win a championship, you got to answer some gut checks. I thought we answered one today.
We did. We answered gut checks defensively. We did. They put together some big drives, and we came back and got turnovers. We answered a lot on third down. The one thing that we forced them to do was drive the field a lot. Now, they did hit a couple of big passes, but for the most part, they had to drive the field. And if you're going to drive the field from an offensive standpoint, you've got to be perfect play after play after play. So I think from that standpoint we were. And then offensively, again, the run game is going to be the difference in the game. And they were tough yards, but Willie made some great plays in the throw game. We left some out there. Shaq was wide open one-on-one with the safety, and he just peeked at the safety and let that ball drop. But we did make some big plays in the pass game. And, I think from a standpoint of when we had to make plays in that game, we were able to do that. And I think that was one of the reasons that we came away with the victory.
Felt good to get that first league win, too, didn't it?
Yes, it did. We're off and running now in the league. We're back to 1-1, back to 500, and we got a heck of a stretch. We're playing, I guess, now seven straight games in the conference. So there's no off weeks. we got to get back to work tomorrow and get ready for an in-state rivalry game, and hopefully go to 3 games in a row.
Speaking of no off weeks, the big one, Valdosta State comes in. There is no one anywhere on this planet who has more respect for what that program has been, and stands for than David Dean.
No question. I've been a part of Valdosta State for many, many years, and still know a lot of people that are there. I know the pride that they have in their program. I know how they feel about West Georgia, and it's going to be a game that is going to be a lot of fun. And I encourage you, if you don't have anything to do, you need to be at Ray Lynn Field Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock, because that will be a fun game to watch, just like this one was. These kids, they fight hard, they practice hard, and what's good football, and you're right down in the action. You don't have to fight the crowds and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. So next Saturday is going to be a big one. They've had an off week. They've got a week to rest and heal up. I know they're going to throw some wrinkles at us. So hopefully we're going to step up and be ready to take on that challenge for the 3rd week in a row.
Oh, kind of add on to what the coach said, friends, you do have something to do. The Blazers are in town, and it's pretty doggone special. And it's next Saturday. It's 2 o'clock, Rayland Field, University Stadium. Come early, come festive, and have some fun. And you'll see what a rivalry is all about, with 2 great institutions, 2 proud football programs, and 2 sets of great kids battling one another. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And by the way, next year it goes back to where it belongs at the end of the season. But this year we're playing them at midseason one more time, and we hope to see you here. Coach Dean, thank you for being with us. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Head football coach David Dean. Want to thank Travis Custis. Want to thank Cameron McGee, 2 gentlemen who were very instrumental. West Georgia to 4-1 on the year, 37-23 over the North Alabama Lions, as West Georgia wins a very big one here to close out the month of September. For Coach Dean, this has been the Coach David Dean Postgame Report, brought to you by SMI, Systems and Methods Incorporated, and I'm Mitch Gray. Thanks for joining us. Go Wolves.